I don't know what's more depressing this season, the lack of focus on the main seasonal arc, the destruction of the characters' original motives, or these ridiculous titles of this fucking season. And where the hell is Eliyora? I expected her to be here for this collab 10 minutes ago. Ellie, what the hell are you wearing? Oh my god.
You really do need to get that checked, you know.
It's not really helping if you're wearing that. Why are you wearing that?
Because it's one of the Wonderbolt uniforms and it looks good on me.
Okay, but does it have to be that, attractive?
Nah, I just wanted to see how long until it got you. It was a lot faster than I thought it would be, though.
I don't like where this is going. Arrivederci!
Oh, no you don't. No abandoning your video. Not unless you're trying to give your channel to me, of course.
That's not really possible. You don't even know my password. Okay, fine, we'll just do it. But try not to tease me when you're wearing that. Anyways, I can't believe I'm saying the title here. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I think this has become the stupidest title in the show. Now, that's not to say there's anything wrong with the episode, but Amy, seriously?
It's still more creative than Bats, but yeah, that is kinda lame. Still, it fits. The plot of the episode is Rainbow needs to prepare for an exam to get into the Wonderbolt reserves. Of course, Rainbow is far more an active soul than a studious one. So our resident bookworm, Princess, takes it upon herself to help Rainbow study.
Okay, so how long has it been since we've heard about Rainbow Dash wanted to be a part of the Academy? Oh yeah, a fucking season ago. In the last episode, Rainbow Falls didn't help her out either after thoughtlessly villainizing Spitfire. Anyway, Dash is too active to take and acknowledge that Twilight tries to teach when she tries to help Dash prepare for the exam.
Okay, so like the second Twilight brought Rainbow into the library, I was going, "Welcome, class clown," in the back of my mind. I know Twilight's enthusiastic about studying and knowledge, but she also knows Rainbow Dash. Don't you think it should have occurred to her that the energetic, active Rainbow Dash would have a little difficulty sitting still and studying? And the fact that she only gave each method one try without keeping at it and then just marks each of the methods off as a failure pissed me off. It reminded me a lot of public school systems in America, just mass cramming the education at you in one way and not bothering to actually help the kids who can't take in knowledge in that way. Maybe it's just a little personal for me since I was one of those kids who learned differently from others. But it's just sickening to me that different types of people, or ponies in this case, are kept to a single standard without individualism being taken into account.
I can understand the issues of educational systems, and this comes from someone who wasn't good at learning. Asperger's, ADD, and not to mention the fearful thought of those who would harass you. Needless to say, my public school counterpart of my childhood wasn't all that good. However, even though it's standard and bland, there is something that can't be denied, and it's that kids need to experience to learn and listen and provide attention. Kids are very energetic, which is why in kindergarten or elementary schools they have playgrounds. Still, kids are very active, even in their classrooms, and I can't blame them. But for the most part, they have to learn self-control. As much as I hated school as a kid, these are things that I have to say are more convenient for educational systems. So anyway, Dash gets so arrogant about Twilight's sense of knowledge that she dares to test herself. Twilight gives her a test, but Dash answers all the questions wrong. She then freaks out and then blames Twilight for this. Wow, I'm sorry to get on the episode's case here, but if we're supposed to have sympathy for Dash, this little blame game doesn't add much of her sensitivities. Yeah, she's frustrated and all, and she's got pride issues, but even when I was a kid, I didn't so-called blame others blatantly like that. I came up with excuses.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, Rainbow has a strong sense of pride. If she hadn't blamed Twilight, then she would have had to admit that Twilight was right and she really was in trouble when it came to knowing about the Wonderbolts. Do I think she was right to blame Twi? Hell no. However, I do understand why she did. Rainbow has a very hard time admitting when she's in trouble. Saying Twilight's teaching methods were lousy was not completely inaccurate either, given that those particular methods had no real effect on her. Granted, she wasn't taking it seriously, but book learning just isn't Rainbow's way to begin with. Luckily, Fluttershy pops in and stops the argument.
And thus the rest of the main six try their own teaching methods. Fluttershy puts on a play with her pets, and it doesn't work. Rarity holds a fashion show for the Wonderbolt uniforms, and it doesn't work. And then Pinkie does this.
Well, back in ancient times where the Wonderbolts of war, a general named Firefly, amazing and so bold. She brought them all together, spreading unity and fight, performing at the very best with wonder.
I'm sorry, but I didn't like this scene. It's supposedly a random parody of 90s rap, but that doesn't really add anything. I never liked rap to begin with, but that's not my reason for hating the song. Whenever Daniel Ingram provided music, they came out more naturally. Take Love's in Bloom, for instance, where it sounds like a generic mainstream pop song, which is a genre I wasn't too keen on either, but given how it's taken in for the story, that's why I loved it. A lot of people found this to be funny, but I honestly thought this was way too awkward for me to stomach in.
No. I don't care if this was a parody or homage or whatever. I'm sorry, but the shift to this song was too jarring and it didn't even fit. Besides, this has to be one of the weakest raps I've ever heard in my life. Pinky, stick to your silly show tunes. Rapping ain't cute on you, hun.
Wow, and to think I was exaggerative. Son of a bitch! Sorry.
Oh, you just have a thing for mayors in uniform.
It's, a little personal to say. Dash gets overwhelmed with everyone's teaching methods, and then she takes off, doubting herself once more. Twilight decides to take a brief flight with her until Dash pushes her aside of an oncoming helicopter. Dash explains that one of her surroundings are her major strengths aside from flight speed, which gives Twilight an idea. And that's where my skepticism begins to fly throughout the rest of the episode. No pun intended.
I kinda have to agree with you. I can't say it surprises me that Twilight pulled together a sort of improvised play along their flight path, but even with cartoon speed, getting the entire town in on it would take more time than they had. Rainbow outright said they had 12 hours. It would take a lot longer than that to organize this silliness. Besides that, I do need to question whether or not they would be able to predict Rainbow's entire flight path like that. Twilight didn't say, let's fly to your house. She said, let's go flying. How in the name of fuck did everything just so happen to be perfectly aligned for Rainbow to pick up on a flight path that no one predicted? Nope, not gonna have one of my fits. I'm just gonna say that the whole play along the ground was a little too convenient for me to fully buy it.
I'm actually more skeptical on the moral itself. I'm not going to be the one to say that it was a bad message or anything, but I feel it's discouraging to viewers who would take it the wrong way. Granted, many people have different learning methods, and you'll eventually find out what it is. But at its worst, some kids would get the wrong ideas, like neglect school's teachings for the sake of their own way of their own learning curves, which can be done correctly after school, but I can't properly consider this a moral for everyone to agree on. It's a pretty big concern to me, while I have my own concerns to worry about in the process.
3 times now? You could at least ask a girl to dinner first.
I have an uncontrollable fetish on mare outfits. There, I said it!
Oh, Fox, you shouldn't have told me that.
I couldn't take it anymore. I had to confess.
Oh, hey, Fox. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm sorry, I was just having a little fun.
It's not you. I just can't control myself. And I especially find it disrespectful if I can't control myself towards other mares.
Hey, it's okay. We all have our thing. Truth be told, I have a bit of a thing for red stallions. I'm just lucky I don't have wings myself.
Let's just finish the review and get it over with. This episode has its heart in its right place, but I think it could have been framed and executed better. Some moments are questionable, some moments are awkward, and some scenes just feel a little too out of place. On the other hand, I can appreciate the topic it has, and it does what it can to explain how there are other teaching methods. It's also nice to see that we get to be back on track with Dash's prime motivation being a part of the Wonderbolts. In addition, we get some historical background about them instead of making them your typical military setup. At the very least, while some viewers may have loved it, I won't say it's bad. Nowhere near that close. But I stand differently from it. I mean, I even have guilty pleasure episodes like Bats and Spike at Your Service.
I'm sorry, what episode?
Bats?
I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
You hated Bats that much, huh?
No, I loved Bats, and I have no shame admitting that. Best Williams episode to date.
Oh, so it's Spike at Your Service then. Yeah, Spike at Your Service is a guilty pleasure. What are you doing with that mallet? Ellie?
Calmly expressing my dislike of that atrocity of an episode.